Well, good evening, everybody. This is Ian Blackburn. It's 7 o'clock on Wednesday. That means it's time for Zoom into Wine. Thank you for joining me. Every week we get together and share some great wines from around the world, whether it's about a single grape or a place or a set of places. I like to explore the wine world. And tonight we're going to Greece. Not sure how many people on this Zoom have been to Greece? Maybe raise your hand. Let me know. Have you been to Greece? All right. Fantastic. I know a lot of people are going to Greece, have been to Greece in the last couple of years. The value proposition that it presents is pretty strong. If you go to Santorini, the island can get very expensive, but I recommend going to the north of Greece, go up into the Peloponnese, go up into the extreme northern part. You'll and stay, yeah, you've got to see Athens. It's got a lot of history and stuff, but Athens is not the best part. It's all the countryside, Massawa, go into the different historical landmarks throughout the country. It's just an embarrassment of riches of history. It's a great visit. The people are wonderful. The food is amazing. The dollar is strong. And the wines have gotten really good and really fun. And I will say tonight we're going to explore a really fun set. Let me see if I can share actually just a look at the Zoom page. How should I do that? Mm, Maybe another moment here and I'll come up with a better idea. But let's just go ahead and get started with our first wine. This is Tetra uh, Tetramythos. Tetramythos. Rhoditis natural. It's a big tongue twister for me. I have a hard time with English and I'm a little dyslexic, so I can mix those vowels and consonants up, and Greek will throw me for a big uh, roller coaster. But Tetramythos, I've had this wine in our store for years. It's brought in by a teeny little producer. Seldom do we have to pronounce it, but the Roditas has been fantastic, and the package has been upgraded over the last couple of years. This is the Peloponnese right here. If you go into Greece, you could go up into like Thessaloniki or Thrace or Macedonia. You could go all over the place. But Peloponnese is really a fantastic destination as well. And there's different types of products throughout Greece. Like I said, great food, great people, great history. Um, we got the winemaker's name there. We'll just call him PP for now. That's just way too much for my mouth to figure out how to say. The winery is owned by the brothers, and they have been imported by Wine Wise, which is a really great little company I work with. They bring in a lot of small family produced wines. They're completely organic and vegan. And we've got two wines on our flight tonight. I think you're going to love them both. They represent an extreme value. They're a small producer, but they've got the hip packaging, tying it all together. When you go into the hills of Greece, you've got all this natural brush. The vineyards are set up all hand farmed. You got animals going through the vineyards, not machines. Not the most efficient businesses, but really authentic, really authentic. And Roditas is the grape variety here and really is a delicious wine. I'm looking for your comments. I'd love to get you guys to smell it, taste it, feel it, check it out. Here's the grape variety, the most planted white grape varietal in Greece. It has a reddish skin, so we press the fruit using the white juice. All red grapes have white juice except for very, very few. And this is something that's got a little bit of character to it. It also fairly mildew resistant. So vigorous and mildew resistant, that adds up pretty well. And fairly low yielding, so you're going to get some really good quality as well. When you smell the wine, Jancis Robinson, 93 points. She is no slouch, and she is hard on wines like this. A lot of the press have been a little slow to get into giving good scores to the Greek wines, but now that they've really established true quality in winemaking, they've made their ethos statements quite known. The organic, biodynamic, natural path winemakers. That's what the Greeks kind of all do. And they celebrate their terroir, which is very stony, and that results in wines with some smoky, flinty notes, possibly a little good reduction, which is very clean, very oxygen deplete winemaking. Bone dry, firmly textured, lime-like green fruits, stony minerals, fantastic grip, malolactic conversion gives roundness, which you can kind of feel in the mouth, a little bit of weight, a little bit of roundness. A little temperature control brings the fermentation pace down, and that slow ferment keeps things very fresh. According to the winemaker, stressful conditions, yeast release glycerol, and full in the mouth, excellent freshness. Love your impressions here. As you look at what they're working with, they're surrounded by ocean, they're in the mountains, not a lot of competitive forces, no freeways driving right by the vineyards. Lots of amazing oxygen, sunshine, wind. 22.95. It's natural, it's delicious. Just going to go down and see. We got the Jancis Robinson note there. Peloponnese. Been making wine there since um, probably the year 600 or something like that. It's been a wine production zone. The Greeks were really early adapters to the wine thing. In fact, the Romans were really fond of the Greek wines, and the Greeks did everything to keep the Romans away. There were some wines made even where they added like pine resin to the wines. Those wines, Retsina, their wines are called. They still make those wines. They're a little bit more homage to the past. There's some pretty highly touted Retsina wines, but that's not what we have here. There's no resin added to this wine. It's just really clean. Roditis is the grape variety, and the here the producer's ethos is really high. He's even watching the total sulfur that they're adding to the wine. I think a natural path wine consumer, hipster wine consumer would all circle around this wine and enjoy it. The Nature Roditis Nature, 22.95. Loving to get some comments from you guys. I'm seeing chats in the chat box. Excellent description. Right on, Janice. Thank you. It's a great wine, great value. Like it a lot. Thank you, Lisa. Thank you, Thomas. Thank you, Janice. What a busy week it's been in the wine world. We've got quite a bit going on here at our little office. I want to thank you guys for all the support. We continue to ship wine all over the country. We have great days, and then we have some weird days that aren't great, but in general, the store's up tremendously, and I couldn't be more happy or optimistic about that because I think our selection is just keeps getting better and better. And I've really been working hard to keep the selection very unique. We got about 1,200 wines in the store right now, and a pretty healthy selection of Greek wines. What I'd like to do is just kind of show you the entirety of our Greek wine selection here. I'm going to go and show you the page real quick. And, number of ways to shop. You can go into the wine shop and shop by varietal, but you can also go into the regions. And this is where you're going to find, Eastern Europe and Greece, Germany, Austria, just kind of the way we've made sense to break it out so far. We'll continue to elevate how we're breaking it out, especially when a region has now as many wines as we have from Greece. So I'm just scanning down and showing you that we have more Greek wine than probably any shop in LA, unless there's a Greek wine shop I don't know about. There is a really healthy selection here. I'm at 25 Greek wines. I think that's a lot, and I'm proud of all of them. Honestly, we're gonna taste the this little Zeno Marvro that could, and I get this brand just keeps making the wine great and keeps it really affordable. This Vidiano has been used in Azum in the past. It's kind of like my Chablis of the Mediterranean, and I love it. We'll taste we're tasting this now. We'll taste the red from this producer in a few minutes. We've got a couple of wines from Alpha, which is a really tremendous estate. We're going to taste one of their wines, not this one tonight, but we've tasted this in the past. This little Peloponnese white is very sexy. It's a Certico and $25. Here's one for 30. We'll taste this one tonight. The Sigalis is a really important brand. We'll taste the red and the white, in fact. I've even got some Pet Nat now from Santorini. Pretty damn good. If you like Pet Nat, Petulant Natural. This is a producer that we carry. I'm going to show you, zoom down here and show you. We carry their $150 wine and we carry their $33 Pet Nat. So pretty fun, sparkling. This is a great Certico that we continue to carry for the last couple of years. Brand new vintage, 22. They're always a little bit behind on vintage on this wine, but the vintage, I mean, these wines need some time. You'll see a Certico can age really well. We're going to taste the Sigalis tonight. We're going to taste this Reserve. The Xenomarvro is kind of the champion red grape variety of the mountains. This is a great example. And then we just kind of go higher end in whether it's Xenomarvro or a Certico, Xenomarvro, a Certico, a Certico, a Certico, Xenomarvro, a Certico. So that's kind of where it goes with the Greek wines. A lot of the non-Certico or Xenomarvro wines tend to be in the value area still, as they know what they're really good at. In the more expensive versions are just elevated. And yeah, these are so much fun with food. Um, let's go back into the slideshow. Let me open that back up and make that happen again. Here we go. Okay. Now, wine number two, Sigalis Santorini. This is their Assertico, and this is a single vineyard to Sigalis. They make a number of different wines. Sigalis used to make a blended wine that we would carry. This kind of replaced that. They were blending their estate with others. So there's a little bit less of this wine than there used to be. And they did take the price up a little bit, but um, they are a Santorini producer. Santorini is the luxury island in the Greek Aegean, and it's home of the $1,500 hotel night. The yachts part off of the coast, and very little land to work with. So if you're making wine on Santorini, it is definitely going to be competing, with higher end wines just from a cost of land standpoint. You can see this is what we're looking at from Paris Sigalis. This is their estate right off the ocean. And as you look down in the vineyards, you're not looking at a lot of plants there. Pretty good, rower orientation, and but this is what you get in Santorini. Supernatural path, vegan. That means they're just not using any um basically a lot of places use things like diatomaceous earth, which are fish bones to be able to help with filtration. So they're not adding any diatomaceous earth to the wine to help with filtration. They're using other means, maybe even tighter filtration, where the pores of the filters are very tight, so they don't have to use any kind of particulate, just to keep the wine stable. Cold temperature helps some things solidify and drop out, and then they'll filter it. Sagalis is a really nice, beautiful, but intimate property. This is the entirety of it. In the less expensive wines that the producers make, they will potentially add other varietals. And the Athiri is another grape variety. So you could see Assyrtiko and Athiri. So AA is the name of the wine, and you'll see other kind of less expensive Assyrticos from Santorini having that kind of blended approach, and it's all about delivering value. We're going to skip that slide because those are the wrong grape varieties. This wine got 92 points, a field blend, Assyrtiko, and Athiri. The 2023 Santorini AA offers a structured tension. The first grape with plenty tension of the first grape with plenty of floral aromas of its second. So the structure comes from the Assyrtiko, and the florals are coming from the Athiri. Athiri tends to be lower in acid, but the presence gives it a gentle lift and elegance to the bouquet. This vintage saw low yields and heat stress, but the results are even more concentrated and lovely as a result. The grapes are not destemmed before pressing. That helps keep the juice really clean. It acts like a filter. So they keep it whole cluster. They do that with a lot of wines around the world, whole cluster pressing, and and then you'll perceive a hint of waxy richness on the close. If you're visiting, there you go. You can see on the table a little picture of the Sagala 7. And I also carry that wine at a much higher price point. So this one's really fighting for value. And I hope you guys enjoy it. 39.95. My glass just broke, so give me 1 second. Just seconds before going on the air, I knocked my glass to the floor. So I was trying to fake it with you guys so I can make it. How are the wines treating you? Any comments? I think the wines are assertive, they're clean, full of acidity. When they're from Santorini, always look for that island kind of craziness. Um, you're going to get more sunshine, more wind, maybe even some fruit that gets a little like riper feature. Because, I mean, imagine if you're sitting in the sun all the time on an island, you're going to get some sun, you're going to get some heat, you're going to get some ripeness. Like it's almost kind of can almost be like a sunburn type of a ripeness. And the saltiness that you're getting from the ocean, those are really complementary and fun. And if you know, you got to be able to handle it right. And certainly Santorini's got the interest in doing so. Cool. I look forward to tasting these wines with you. As you know, I get a supplier to come in and we'll taste. I might buy one wine from the supplier, but getting to taste them kind of next to each other is really what the joy is in these Zooms, and helps me really kind of see the lay of the land and how things are stacking up. I think both those first two wines over deliver. What was our price point on that second wine? We're at $38. I'm going to share that page with you again. 38 on the Santorini Assertico Double A from a high quality producer. Um, to get to the next level with this producer, you're in close to $70. So it's a nice step. And I think you kind of get what you pay for. I mean, I think this wine, I think the competitive set, I would put this white up against things like AOC, Chablis, Albarino, and some. I don't think you can get Pinot Grigio with this much personality, but you can. I have a couple that are like $70, and so they can get pretty high end. It might go into wines like Ribolla or something like that to get a little more personality. I'm glad you like them, Thomas. Thank you for your comments. Both are delicious, says Wendy. Thank you so much. Michelle, always great to have you. Greek food in the house tonight. Excellent. Let's move on to wine number three. We'll go to the same producer. Now we're shifting to a red varietal blend from Santorini. Again, where Santorini is located. Again, the estate. A lot of similarities here because we're talking about the same producer, but moving to a Mavro Tragano, and Mandalaria. So 50-50, vibrant ruby red color, intensely fruit forward nose, mostly cherry and strawberry. Now, I just sold out of a producer of Mavro Tragano that sells for $175 a bottle. I bought it from this really high-end importer because the story is amazing, the packaging is amazing. Like nobody's got this wine anywhere. Somebody's going to come and look for it, and I had it in stock for about 50 days. I went back to her and asked her if she had any more, and it's out. But I'll be getting some more later in the year, and they are the high-end producer of Mavro Tragano. But this is the other one that we have, so I'm excited to taste this with you. And then Mandalaria, 50%, mostly grown. Let's see, grown on the Greek mainland and other islands. Wine rarely exceeds 13% alcohol and usually lack of strong body. So the wine has some personality to it, but not a lot of color, not a lot of alcohol, not a lot of strength, but maybe a good blender. And that's why it says frequently used in blends. Nope. Let's go to, oh, that was the right one. Sorry. Here's 91 points, Wine Advocate, Domaine Sagalas, 22, Mavro Tragano, blend 50-50. Wine ages in large oak casks for 1 year and reveals punchy flavors of cherry, cassis, grilled watermelon, and apple cider. Okay, let's hold it right there and smell. I think the nose is pretty cool. I wouldn't say it's like hyper aromatic though. I'm having to get in there pretty deep into the glass, and I like what I'm smelling. It's got some wonderful grit to it. Okay, I'm not gonna say I would have written this review the same way, but I'm also kind of coming up for a lack of things just on the nose. The tannins are bitter, and it might help to serve this wine 1 or 2 degrees cooler, which I'm doing tonight because I chilled it with my whites. But I pulled them out of the refrigerator about an hour before the program in the little jars with you to see how they're doing. And it's inherently food friendly, especially with cheese heavy dishes like lasagna or pizza. We're at 32.95, so they're keeping the value really strong. Packaging is beautiful. Nothing wrong with that. I have the bottles here. I think Sagalis is always a class act on the package. The bottle doesn't look like you're buying some cheap imported wine. You're actually kind of impressed with the packaging, and it comes in a nice heavy duty box. And um, this on the label says protected geographic indication uh, Cyc Cyclades, which are the indication of the group of islands there. Man, the wine is delicious. I think it's fresh, kind of, I wouldn't say powerful, but I think it's got some balance, some really good, like just kind of yummy, drink it up. Gonna go great with some, light summer fare. It's perfect summer wine, kind of heading into summer. Some burgers, some pizza, some lasagna, maybe some Mediterranean fare, little vegetarian stuff, some feta cheese, some tomatoes. I think anything from the eastern side of Europe would go really well with this type of wine. It shows small amount of inventory, and I know that we're low on this wine, but we will be getting more. I'm just waiting for the importer to get a little bit more in stock. It probably will be the 23, and unfortunately, probably will come with a slightly higher price point. But if you like this as much as I do, 32.95, really good price point. And you guys are welcome to shout at me and get on this Zoom. If any of you have a little bit of an accent when it comes to Greek pronunciation, help me out. Yeah, Janice, you don't smell much on the nose. I think the nose is
No, this is
really restrained on the nose,
yeah.
and I don't fault it for that. I actually think, oh, I like that Michelle Smith's note. Uh, those are some of my favorite dolmas, the little uh, grape leaves stuffed with rice and meat and things like that. That would be perfect for this. Um, if you're looking for a big and powerful heavy red, this is not for you. But if, something Beaujolais, something islandy, even, some of the Italian islands have red wines like Cannonau and things like that that kind of have like a similar body to them, little edge. Yeah, I can smell the cherry too. It's kind of got like a baked cherry character, like I won't say it's dark and like black skins, but very red fruited, um, kind of cherry syrup almost, and lots of rocky elements too. I think a lot of minerality. But the alcohol can't be that high, right? It says 13%. That's pretty low. And that's why that nose is so restrained. If you had sunburnt fruit and you were going super ripe, you'd be pushing 15 alcohol, you'd get that nose. But here the restraint is speaking 13 to 14%. 13% to me means you could drink that all day long, even at work. and I like it.
Yeah.
Next week we do some Cabernet. Is it next week or 2 weeks from now? Is that next week already? My God, 20. Where's April going? We're already on the 22nd, right? Not right. We are. Damn it. Things got to slow down, man. I'm getting old. I don't want the clock to go so fast. We're on April 22nd already. We're already like 15% through the baseball season. And it's just too fast. I need things to slow down a little bit. Gotta enjoy the ride a little bit more. So next Wednesday, 7 p.m., we're doing Cabernet. And it's kind of a really cool worldview of Cabernet. I'm showing some fun wines. I'd say that over deliver for their price. Not trying to impress anybody with cult level cabs next week, but one of the best damn Cabernets of Australia, something great from France, something great from California. Just keeping it real and showing you some good values next week in Cabernet. The taste of the strange, don't let the name or the wines scare you. But I wanted to show off some different things. I can tell I'm going to have to convince some people to try to jump on board. Sales on this one aren't flying, but we're at $29. Give it a shot. We're going to taste some wines from Georgia, Spain, couple there, Portugal, Mendoza Cab Franc, which is kind of the second coming of Mendoza and red wines. The Cab Francs are great. We're tasting the El Enemigo, which is always one of the best wines of Mendoza, great producer. And we're going to finish up with a cool Italian, what they call Ripasso style wine. They pass the Valpolicella over the skins of the Amarone, and this producer Bussola is really, really good. It's going to be super exotic. So just trying to show some different things on winemaking, and Ellen Amigos throwing some curves there with some of their winemaking techniques. We've got some kind of borderline naturally made wines from Dido. This guy makes $300 Priorat, but he and his wife make some really cool Monsants. This is going to be your favorite wine next week. This Dido, spectacular Monsant. So really a fun lineup. Please join me. That's a couple weeks away. Don't let the name scare you. We'll go into some fresh rosés and then Central Coast gems. And we've got the Merchant of Wine calendar plotted out for a number of months ahead now. I might not have all the wines picked, but we're out into July with a Madeira thing, a Zinfandel thing, a white Burgundy thing, Alsace. So keeping it moving all over the place. Let's go back into our Zoom and get our next wine in the glass. Let's see, here we go. Next wine, same producer as our first. Bottle here. Wine number 4. Mavro Calavrantino Nature. How's that? That it tetramythos. Okay, that's I have to go through it like twice, speed up and then run over it again. We're in the Peloponnese, same producer, same area. A lot of olive production down here in the Peloponnese, by the way. Great olive oil. You might see the town of Kalamata, where a lot of olives carry that brand. So that as we drove through this region, going to the wineries, we saw some amazing olive oil producers and a lot of different agriculture. Yes, Janice, we're this one. I mean, Greek wines really kind of build off their earthiness. Everything's kind of sitting on top of that. 100% from this grape variety, from this producer. And they've been doing it, they've been knocking it out for a long time. Here's a couple of reasons that, this wine could appeal to a lot of different people. First of all, you're going to see a price point here that is fantastic. You got a wine that has a lot of personality, super high ethos. Okay. We're talking about almost like they're not trying to be natural wine, but they are growing it organic, natural, very low use of sulfur. And really does wants to make, look at these vines. They're untrained, untrellised, older vines. They're bush vines, hand picked. There's no machine that's going to pick a vineyard that looks like that on a hillside over the ocean for $22. I get a little bit more of like an orange peel. That remember how we talked on the last wine about that cherry note? It's back in this glass. Maybe a little bit more aromatic. Let me just check the alcohol because we talked about it. Where is the alcohol? Damn, I'm pretty sure there's no alcohol on this label. How is that possible? Oh, maybe it's written sideways here. Yep. 12.5. How about that?
So Ian, a wine like this is a 2024. Is this ageable?
No, no, I mean, yes, you don't have to hurry. It's not like a 90-day Beaujolais or something like that.
Mm,
Yeah, no. Uh, but it is absolutely made
it's
for
great. Yeah, really good.
now, for fun.
Mhm.
And yeah, it's moving through the food chain pretty fast. In fact, last year, 23, they ran out of this wine, the importer. Um, I I just secured yet another case. I'm ordering it probably once a month right now. I'm
So did
burning.
you have the 23? And if so, how did it compare to the 24?
Uh honestly, I would have a hard time telling the difference between vintage on this wine.
Okay.
Yeah, very, very consistent.
Okay.
And in fact, I would go as far to say this producer continues to get better each year that they're coming into the market. That packaging that you're looking at there, um, it's keeps getting a little more elevated. I think the picture we have there doesn't do it enough service. It's a good looking bottle of wine. They still kind
Mhm.
of cut, some corners on that foil with the tear off. I don't know why they would do that. I think it cheapens the look of the package. They could go something a little bit. They could even just get rid of that entirely and not even have it on the bottle. It'd probably just be just as good. But yeah, I love the dirt behind this wine, the rock, the dirt, the smell, the nose. I think I reviewed this wine in previous vintages, but haven't been able to taste it like this. I'll probably write something up after this Zoom and put it on there because I'm going to take a little stronger position on the 24 just because of the pace that we're selling it. And so it's I'm don't quite know what my review yet will say or list, but I like the wine, and I think at its price point, this thing is knocking it out. It's really, here's why it's 22.95. It's not from Santorini because it's from the Peloponnese. Cost of the land is, I mean, literally dirt cheap. I heard somebody tell me that they were able to buy a home, a brick home in the Peloponnese for like $150,000 on a big piece of property. So it's very affordable there and probably more sheep than people, but it is an affordable place to be in agriculture. And I think this wine is gorgeous and really fun at its price point. I hope you guys agree. And hell, I'm selling the hell out of this thing. I'm looking at the numbers. I'm like, wow, it's going great. So
Right.
I pay a little bit more attention to this one. On the mouth, on that last one, I'll just put it up so I'm talking about. There's something that reminds me almost like having fresh beets in the mouth. It's got something, I'm borderline on the vegetable side. The fruit is still there. Maybe it's beets and olives, kind of a combination in there. I think that's really cool. I'm going to spend some time with that after the program and I'll come up with a description. Check back and tell me what you think of it. We'll move on to wine number 5. This Nassois Xenomarvro Veiny is the name of the producer. Nassau is the area. Xenomarvro is the grape. I've always said that Xenomarvro kind of reminds me a lot.
Show us, pop back so we can see the bottle.
Sure, sure. This one. It's one of the least expensive wines on my website, and it always has been. Um, I, I continue to like. I've carried it for 5 vintages, and it's another one of those producers. Maybe because they're just continuing to increase the quality of the importation, the speed. Package here hasn't really changed.
Are you showing something on the screen? We can't see anything.
Oh, that's why Lisa couldn't see it. Okay, sorry
Yeah.
guys. Sorry guys. Go back. Sorry if I'm a little disjointed. The breaking of the wine glass, and also we had some problems with the slideshow. So I was in a bit of a panic getting started today. It's kind of carrying over. Um, but here, can you see it now? Can you see the
Yeah.
bottom? Cool. So this is our Nassau Xenomarvro. Let's go forward. This is I'd say, from Athens, it's a bit of a drive. I in fact flew from Athens up to Thessaloniki, which is pretty close by. And then we rented a car and drove down from Thessaloniki into Nassau. And this is like mountainous. There's some valley floors, but there's also some mountains. The Alpha Estate is over here, closer to the border, and uh, it's pretty large growing area. Here is our producer. They are a cooperative. And so they make a good number of lots of small family farms out there. They buy the fruit from a lot of these small family farms. It's why this wine delivers at a price point that's like, how much is that? Um, and 50% of the local production comes from this cooperative. Um, Champagne uses the same method. A lot of the Pinot Grigio producers in Italy, a lot of the family growers, they just sell their fruit to the cooperative. And so they're marketing Xenomarvro at a affordable price and a dependable package. The families don't have to own or worry about, marketing a wine. these price points still haven't really engaged to a point that it would be profitable to put your son or daughter on an airplane and have them fly around the world to try to sell Xeno Marvro. So until the prices get a little higher, this is probably still a great idea to sell your fruit to the cooperative. There are some higher end Xeno Marvros coming out of this area. We'll taste one, but this is what it looks like. So I went there, it was probably about 10 years ago, maybe 12. I think it was 2014. And it was a day like this. Okay. We were there in early April, I think. Um, and it was beautiful. Sun was out. We had a great day. Everything went perfect. We got to the hotel, had some drinks in the bar, went to bed, woke up. Everything was covered with snow in the morning, and it was gorgeous. But nobody had any idea the snow was coming. And it was just like, wow, how did that happen? It wasn't like 5 feet of snow, but it was like a good foot of snow that fell. And so pretty dramatic. And let's get this one in the glass and read about it here. 100% Xena Marvro, hints of the wood that this wine spends time in barrel. I can tell you that we went to so many little restaurants owned by small families where they've got a garden behind the restaurant. The most delicious tomatoes in the planet on the planet, feta cheese, amazing, olive oil, tremendous, fresh cucumber. You know, when they say Greek salad, oh, and you go to a restaurant, you're gonna sit down, they're gonna cook the lamb. They cooked the lamb on a countertop that was probably like some sort of a marble countertop. They put like branches from the vines on the countertop, light them on fire, put a little like almost barbecue layer on top of them, and just cook lamb chops. Lamb chops right on top of the fresh cut vines. And then the potatoes are deep fried in olive oil. And that's dinner. And you get all you can eat salad. Then you want more papas, uh, and the wine. Now here, this was 10, 12 years ago. I'm sure it's a little bit more expensive, but I got the bill. There were 12 of us, and we ate and drank an amazing meal. We were hugging and kissing the owners. Everybody had a great meal. The bill came. I thought they broke the check out like for each of us to have our own check. It was like $96 for 12 people, all in with the wine and everything. I asked them to, recalculate. It was like I was like, what? $96 for a lamb chop dinner for 12 people? I don't. It was bizarre, but it was such a good time. And uh, this would be the kind of wine we probably even drank this wine, knowing that now they make 50% of the production in the area. Um, Xena Marvro is their primary grape variety. I think it's very Nebbiolo-like. This would be the softer version, maybe like a Nebbiolo d'Alba or something of that ilk. Not trying to be Barolo here, but maybe the next one will get us there. Here's a look inside the cooperative. Lots of barrels, lots of old wood barrels. $16. Okay. Solid. It looks light, right? The color, you're like, oh, how light. There's some tan in there. There's some really wonderful chewy tannins, great balance. I'm not going to say this is a 100-point wine or anything, but I think it's over delivers at 15.95 and is a good ambassador. Michelle, the wood softens this one a lot. I agree. I think the wood gives it nice balance. It allowed for a little bit of oxygen to touch this wine, maybe even a little evaporation. Quiet on the nose, Thomas. Yes, I think so. Almost tastes like winemaking process included some more oxygen. So sure, yeah, old wood. Not a lot of oak coming off of old wood, but lots of evaporation and lots of oxidation.
Yeah, that was actually a comment for the previous one, Ian. I just
Oh,
felt that one had a little bit of oxidization in it. This one, maybe a little bit as well, but certainly both of those wines are these are great wines for the backyard and et cetera, right? Yeah, if you're as long as you're barbecuing lamb,
mhm. Or lamb burgers.
the lamb burgers, there you go.
That's one of the best deals in the at the meat counter, by the way. There are other parts of the lamb besides, and in fact, one of my neighborhood restaurants called Bevel in even Bestia, they serve the lamb neck. And you get there and they bring it to the table and you have to pick the meat off and you put it onto like a piece of lettuce and they have a little dipping sauce. And that's an entree option. And how good would this wine be with a lamb neck? Super. Hope you guys are enjoying. We're moving along quickly. I do have a dinner coming up very soon. If anybody wants to come join me for a really special gathering where we explore 100 point wines, one of them being from the family of Screaming Eagle. We'll taste the Second Flight 2019, which was a 99 or yeah, I think it was a 99 point second wine of Screaming Eagle, but 100 point wines from all over the world, served with a multi-course meal at the Peninsula. That's on Thursday, April 30th. I've got 2 spots. Love to have you join me. Check out the details at learnaboutwine.com. Also, really starting to put some energy now into our Sonoma trip. I've got about 3 hotels I'm talking to right now. I'm going to decide on one in the next week or so. I should have that trip up. But if you want to go to Sonoma with me, October 16th, that's a weekend. And we'll go and explore Sonoma just for the weekend. You fly into Santa Rosa, fly out of Santa Rosa, super easy. Got lots of trips on the some of them are approaching soon, some of them are, a year or two out, but plan to go with me to Barolo or Spain or New Zealand or Washington or Napa next year. Champagne in November. We're booked for Champagne. Everything's going good. If you know anybody, I still have 2 tickets available to go to Champagne. Let's go to our final wine, Alpha Estate. I had the most remarkable visit at Alpha Estate years ago. This guy, he's Greek. He went to school in Bordeaux. Got good business acumen, worked up a business plan, built a spectacular winery. Um, got the schooling, worked in some Bordeaux houses, brought the ideas back from Bordeaux to this part of Greece. Really, like literally from the hilltop where this winery is located, you could see across the border. Um, it's Nassau adjacent, and it's pretty far out there. It is a destination. Yeah, like I told you earlier, the reviewers, I see some comments about the scores. The reviewers haven't known how to, what mindset do they bring to these wines. This is a fantastic wine. I buy the wine and find out what the scores are later. Sometimes the scores disappoint, but this one definitely is delicious. And I had so many wines that I liked from this producer. This is the property that they built. It is quite capable of making a good amount of wine. They make about 15 different blends, whites, reds, bubbles, 220 hectares. That's like 500 acres, big swath of land. Really raw, really natural, beautiful old vines. They bought the site because of the vineyard that was there before they got it. The vines are like really established and in great shape. And there is the, kind of the look of probably more of a computer generated look. – 100% Xenomarvro Reserve old vines. And we're looking at 80 plus. I think they were 80 years old when I was there 10 years ago. So they're probably 90-plus-year-old vines. Sun-dried tomatoes, smoky black fruits, strawberries and spices. Again, the grape is Xenomarvro. We're not in Nassau anymore. We're outside of Nassau. But aged for 2 years in French oak barrels and another year in bottle prior to release, orange blossom, red cherry, rose petal, and spice nuances all come alive. Round and polished, the 2021 bundle's energizing freshness on a full-bodied palate with finesse on the complex finish. There are one of those is a family member of the owner who is the lead winemaker. We're at $42.95. Okay, blind taste yourself. Just smell this wine and think of like Northern Italy. I think this wine really does have like Barolo-like comparisons. They say, tar and roses. I think the mouth is pretty generous. Has maybe a little bit more polish and a roundness than some of my other Xenomarvros, which can really kind of hit you in the face with a little bit of a punch of tannin. The 2 years in wood and year in bottle have helped kind of soften that up a little bit. It's let me just see where we are on the food chain there. If I leave here and I go back into our Greek selection, we have $120 Xenomarvro. We have a 42. We have both these are basically the same price. So this one's representing Nassau a little bit more. This one represents something a little outside of Nassau. But they're both very, very good and very good at what they're trying to be. This was just a little bit more like a little less polished, a little bit more assertive, a little bit more old school, a little more raw. This one's pretty refined, rounder, kind of made for with that, I went to college kind of winemaking package with some good use of modern winemaking, and they did a lot of tannin management here. But I'll look for something in between here and there and probably restock a little bit more. We've been selling a lot of Greek wines. Yeah, I think you can see why they deliver a lot for for the money, and they're really entertaining. And I want to thank you guys for joining me tonight. I hope you had a good time. Some of our Zooms go really long, and I apologize on when that happens sometimes. But tonight we're going to keep it nice and tight. And I'll stick around and chat with you guys about anything you want to talk about. Otherwise, thanks for joining us for Greek Wines. Hope to see you soon.
Thanks, it was great.
Yeah, and just aging potential of this last wine. What do you think? You think with the management of it that you mentioned that it would not age as well, or what?
Oh no, I think in fact, recently on the website we had some Zena Marlboros at the same price point that were current vintage 17, 16. They like to sell these with some age on them.
Yeah.
And I believe this wine has a good, 5, 6, 7, 8 years more of probably not moving. I mean, I think the wine's in a really good, balanced, pretty place. I don't think it's going to get much softer or thinner or anything like that. I might even take another gear, add another gear with some additional aging. But I think I mean, it's very current inventory. So this is just off a release. Yeah. So yeah, I would trust the brand too. They're really good at what they do. They have a very good reputation, and they sell through. Every time I go back to buy something from this brand, the same wine isn't available anymore. So they move through it pretty well, and the importers have gotten really good. This is from a importer called Diamond, and they have some really good connections in Greece, and so I like these guys.
They do a lot of Bordeaux, yeah. Diamond as well as if I recall correctly.
I think of them as a pure play on Greek wines.
Okay, I must be thinking of somebody else. Then. Okay.
Yeah, yeah. These guys are like, if you're a great Greek wine, you're probably imported by Diamond.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, thank you guys all. Have a good night and be well, and go Dodgers.
Thank
0-0 at bottom of the fifth or top of the fifth. Pitchers.
We're playing like we're trying to keep the B players motivated and stuff. But last night's game was agonizing. And we're playing the Giants tonight. That's right.
The Giants tonight, yeah. I played the Oracle. Yeah.
Last night was the worst game I think the Dodgers have played all year. I was happy that you guys won actually, because we deserve to lose. And tonight I hope we can pull it back together. We were playing like a pretty good team for a while.
Oh, it's still April.
I know
that. It's still
it goes fast though.
Yeah, it does. Yeah.
You talk about the Mets and the Phillies. They're almost already disqualified.
They're done already. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.